Well, hey there, everybody. It is Friday, January 23rd, and is it going to be 12 inches? Is it going to be 24? Is it going to be more than that? Is it going to be less than that? Is it going to be nothing, a bust? And what time is it going to start? And when is it going to finish? And how much is going to be snow and how much is going to be ice? All compelling questions, ladies and gentlemen, which I'm here live to try to answer. I got a little bit of a late start because I've been going through new data and looking at uh, weather service and some of the different models and trying to get a fix on this thing, but here it comes. Thank you for viewing and watching and getting ready to comment, I'm sure. This is 270 weather for the 270 area code and beyond. And of course, in conjunction with News 40, where I do weather in the mornings if you're a new viewer. We've been, watching this thing all day, all week. And I know it's been exhausting to look back and you think almost a week, maybe even a week and a half in some cases, that, different people started talking about this particular storm and how big it was going to be and how much is going to snow. And, then one person shows this thing, another person shows that thing, and it's in a different color, and the measurements are different. And then some say, oh, we're going to get more ice than snow. And then others say, well, no, you're going to get more snow than ice. I know. I know because I've seen it all. And I've had some of you come to me and say, so what is it? Which is it? How do we know what we need to look out for? Pay attention. We're gonna fix all that, okay? So here we go. We're gonna dive in. Lots to talk about. Let's start with this. This is the Weather Prediction Center Winter Severe Weather Outlook, or impact, I should say. So this begins now, 7 o'clock tonight. It's 10 after 7 if you're watching live, or if you're rewinding, wondering what time I did this. Timestamp 7:10 p.m. Central Time on January 23rd, 2026. So, as we get into the overnight hours and early tomorrow morning, and this goes all the way through 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, we're going to have definite impacts here. And the impact is going to be quite significant. So, we're going to start out, though, with minor impacts even as the snow begins. I've had people ask me, now, when the snow begins tomorrow morning, how fast is it going to come down and how fast is it going to mess up the roads? Because I need to go somewhere, I need to do something, I can't get out of it. Maybe I need to go to work. Am I going to be able to not only go to work, but am I going to be able to come back home, 8 hours later, whatever? Well, this is the impact. It should be minor to start. But then, as some of the heavier snowfall amounts start to come in and we get that enhancement of snow, then that's when the trouble begins. Now, back to the west, all of this in the orange is a moderate outlook or impact of where it's going to be a little tougher. But then you see these little red areas right here, and that is major impact, and that's where we go full tilt on the scale. Well, let's go from 7 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday night, into 7 p.m. Sunday night. And this is what it looks like. So tomorrow, which I will also show you on another map or two, tomorrow it looks like it's going to be primarily snow in the 270. Primarily snow in the 270. I like how that sounds. And if we could just keep it snow, I think we would just, be like, okay, it's a big snow. We haven't had a big snow in a long time. It's just snow. We get to sit in and watch it come down. It's pretty and all that. It's fine. Now, if it were just snow, we wouldn't have any issues. But considering the mix of freezing rain and sleet that's going to get into this thing, that causes some problems. But we're going to start with snow tomorrow, okay? So anyway, tomorrow will be mainly snow, but as we get into Sunday, then we start to introduce the icing. And the icing, because of the low pressure system and warm air intruding into the area, well, that's going to make for some other problems like power outages and things like that. How bad is it going to be here? It could be bad enough that somebody loses power, and it's definitely going to be bad enough, even with the snow, just snow, if that's all you get. It is going to be, travel is just going to be nasty. I wouldn't even attempt it, frankly, with some of the snow totals that I'm looking at. But you see this huge red impact here. I mean, this thing is hundreds of miles of nothing but, major impact on the roads. Now we go to from Sunday night, 7 p.m. to Monday night, 7 p.m. And look, we're still dealing with a lot of impact here, at least moderate to almost major impact as the storm slides off to the east. So this is going to be a long duration. All weekend, this is going to affect us. And then it is also going to affect us after the storm leaves, because it's the aftermath with the very cold air that's going to be just downright brutal, and in some cases, downright dangerous for some. All right, let's go from this to, let's see. Okay, we've done that. Snow amounts. We looked at the anticipation of snow and ice. This is the ice accumulation. Now, this is a product in which, and it's fairly new, that the Weather Prediction Center, with the winter severe storm impact scale, is saying these, starting tonight at 7 o'clock, going to Saturday night at 7 o'clock, full 24-hour period, these are the areas that you see off to the south and west of us that are going to start to really see an impact from the ice. So we're talking about Memphis, Tennessee, Jackson, and pretty much Nashville, right in here, Nashville. Okay, and then worse, down toward Florence, Alabama, the Muscle Shoals, back into parts of Mississippi, Arkansas, Dallas, Fort Worth. Ice impact. It's going to be huge. Okay, so that's the next 24 hours. Let's go to Saturday night, 7 o'clock, to Sunday night, 7 o'clock, when we are going to start to have the impact of ice. Okay? Let me say, first of all, that I don't think we're going to have what you would necessarily categorize as ice storm conditions here in the 270. In the 615 in Middle Tennessee, absolutely. From Nashville further south and west, it is definitely going to be a huge issue. Okay? So let's go to back to this. This is, I'm going to remove that banner so you can see what's going on. So here we go. This is all the ice impact, and it really starts to ramp up. And look, Bowling Green, right on the edge. See, this has been the issue here, where you start to see the moderate impacts of that low pushing in the warmer air, and it's that warmer air that's going to just kind of push over the very cold, very dense, high pressure and that air underneath. Because we're already, right now, all day long today, the temperatures have started to go down, and that wind at times will cut you. Well, that's only a small taste of the cold that's coming. But that cold layer that's now here, and then you get warmer air up top that's overrunning this, then that's where we get the freezing rain, the sleet, some cases just rain, and then back to snow. It's going to be like that. But look at the major impact and even extreme impact that is going to take place southwest of Nashville, and as you head into parts of Mississippi and Alabama, and then it stretches all the way down into Louisiana and parts of Texas. That's where the major ice storm is going to set up. And then even here in parts of North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Asheville is going to get hit with some ice, Gainesville, Georgia, and Atlanta. So we go from tomorrow night at 7 p.m. to Sunday night at 7. That's the way it's going to look. Then we go Sunday night to Monday night, and look, this is what's crazy, is that we're still from Bowling Green to Gallatin down to Nashville, and then those same places that I pointed out are still going to be in the major to extreme ice accumulation category, which is just, well, you see there, it's extreme. That's crazy. So this is where ice storm warnings are up, and even over here in parts of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, ice storm warnings are up there as well. So this is going to be a multi-day, high impact system that is just relentless. I mean, it's going to be really relentless. Now, I want to back up. This is the snow, what's called the snow load. Okay. And in this winter storm severity index, what they're doing here is saying, with the impact of the ice, the snowfall, the temperature drops, all of these things is important to know because it helps tell the story of how these things are going to affect you. So here's the definition of snow load, focused on the weight of accumulated snow. It talks about the potential impacts on structures, trees, power lines. Heavy wet snow can lead to structural stress and damage. But we're going to start with a very powdery snow tomorrow in the morning. So the snow load is something that we look at to say, how much of the weight of the snow is going to be a problem. So this is from now until 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. You see that it's not a big deal. But as we get into tomorrow evening and into Sunday night, look, that's the snow load is in the major category, and it's this area right here that we've been talking about is going to have some of the heaviest of snow. Now we're just kind of Bowling Green is right there on the edge of that. But we're not exactly in that zone, but, you know, minor to moderate snow load impact is possible because I got to tell you, tomorrow, during the day tomorrow, everything's going to look light and nice, and you're going to be thinking, well, this is not bad. It's not going to be that bad. But then as we get into, say, about this time tomorrow night, it is really going to come down. Even here in Bowling Green and even east of us, it's going to be pretty much all snow tomorrow into tomorrow night for all of us at first. At first. So this is taking into consideration tonight through tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Well, let's advance it one more day from 7 o'clock tomorrow night to 7 p.m. Sunday. And there's the loaded wet snow, because this system, as it comes in, as the low pressure system comes in Sunday evening into Monday, it's going to have more warmer air, and the load of snow is going to turn wet and heavy. And it's going to impact mostly Kentucky, as you can see. And it's because of the location of the low pressure system, which is going to travel just east of Bowling Green. It's going to go like this, and then it's going to continue to travel up like this. That's the path. But what it's going to do is it's going to throw moisture, warm air, right over us. And there is where you get your heavy, wet snow. And that's why that area from Lexington to north of Bowling Green, down to Paducah, Jackson, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, that's why it's painted in the moderate category for Sunday. That's where it's going to be, all of this just going to be nasty. Okay? All right, so I just wanted to show you that and get you ready for what's coming, because it is coming. All right, now let's get to some graphics here that have been posted by the National Weather Service, and that's this is their latest discussion, which we that are in weather and those that are in emergency management across the state we get to participate in those conference calls. And so this afternoon, just kind of like, okay, this is locked in. We know pretty well how this thing is going to play out now. So that's what this is. Down at the bottom, by the way, you can see that your comments, if you're commenting on Facebook or my YouTube channel, it's going to show up there. So you guys just have at it. Just be nice, okay? And we'll let you just kind of see your comments there, and people can read that if they want to. And then we'll get to some of your comments toward the end. All right. The key messages, and it continues to be a big key message from the Weather Service, is that this is or could be a historic storm. It is going to move in early tomorrow morning for Bowling Green, and I'm going to show you on the maps here in a moment. For Bowling Green, west, probably 5, 6 a.m. in that window, maybe even 5 to 7, just based on what we're looking at with the latest models. And then it's just going to be here all weekend. So that's why the winter storm warning is in effect, and it goes all the way through early Monday. Now, down here at the bottom, I want you to notice that there is this slide or this sliding ruler that you see on the left-hand side, just above your comments. That is the timing of the snow arrival. So Saturday morning, snow begins. Saturday afternoon, snow. Saturday night, snow. Now, sometime late Saturday night into early Sunday morning, that's when the transition time will begin for some of the ice. And there's even a lull that's going to be a little break between the first wave of the snow. And then as the low comes in on Sunday, there's going to be this break as the low approaches. But then on the backside, as the low leaves, on the backside of the low is where we're going to get another hit of snow. And you see that there if you look at that timeline, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. From Sunday night into Monday morning is when the system will pull away, and any precipitation, no matter what form it's in, is going to just kind of fade away. So the major impacts continue to be big snow and ice totals, roadways, utilities, even your life. This is a dangerous storm. And those are not my words. Those are the words of the Weather Service and everybody that is, focused on this system. Snow totals in that first graphic there at the top where it says 3 to 15 plus inches of snow. What they're doing is 3 would be down there where the blue is, southeastern Kentucky, maybe 3 to 5. And then as you work up to Bowling Green, that yellow indicating 5, 6, 7, 8. And we've been going with, at News 40, Scott, Micah, and myself, we have been talking that we think it's going to be a good stripe of 6 to 8 of snow, just snow at first. 6 to 8 inches total for the Bowling Green area and surrounding counties. Okay? So that would be the storm total. And when I say that, I mean from the beginning of the snow tomorrow morning going all the way through early Monday morning. The snow total should be somewhere 6 to 8 inches. That's what we think. And that just according to all of the very latest high definition modeling that we're looking at, that's what it should be. Now, there are some uncertainties, and that is, where does the best line set up between all snow and then the mix, or just ice, freezing rain, and sleet? Some of that is still kind of wanting to adjust either way, and we're talking about 10 to 20 mile difference in some of the modeling, that you see that rain snow line just kind of wobbling and going kind of back and forth. Oh, it's up here, now it's down here. It's just been doing this, and it's just a little bit of a flex, but that's going to make a big difference in what you get depending on where you are. But just plan on that real possibilities that shows on that bottom Kentucky graphic just above your comments. That red zone area, that means you could get up to a half inch of ice, freezing rain, sleet. Sleet we're okay with. We say sleet has a beat, okay? I like that. Sleet has a beat, and you can hear it. It's the little ice pellets that just hit the ground, hit the trees, hit your car. If we could just get snow and sleet, we would be awesome. But it's when the precipitation with the warm air layer coming almost to the ground as rain, keeping it wet, liquid, but the surfaces even tonight As we fall down into the teens, that means the roadways, your cars, your trees, the power lines, everything is cold enough to, if it does rain, everything is, all that's going to freeze on contact. And there's the big problem. But who is going to get that exactly? So the Weather Service has painted in that red shaded area as the most likely area to get accumulation of ice. Now, if we get a quarter inch, half inch of ice, I think we can handle that okay. The power lines, the trees could handle that. But if we get in between a half inch of ice and 3/4 of an inch of ice, then we'll start to have some problems, big problems. Power outages, number one. Number two would be just a glaze on the roadways. And how this is going to work, we're going to get snow all day tomorrow. Then we're going to get ice in between, in some cases, sleet and freezing rain. And then Sunday, as the system departs into Monday morning, another layer of snow on top of that. So we're going to have a snow, ice, snow sandwich, if you will. So that means you've got a layer of snow on top of ice. And when you try to get traction, you'll get a little traction. But then as cars start to knock off some of that powdery snow, well, guess what happens? It reveals the ice. And then you just can't go anywhere. That's what we're looking at. All right. Here's the next slide. And you can see that we've got this cold weather advisory for tonight, but I anticipate more of these to be issued in the coming days. Now, why is that going to be that way? Well, the cold weather advisory is kind of a new product. It used to be like an extreme cold product. Now it's just called cold weather advisory. And it's because tonight, with the winds blowing like they have all day today, and still they're breezy, with temperatures getting down into the teens tonight, wind chill factor is going to be around -10. -10. That's not good. So we've got an issue there with just how cold it's going to be, but there are going to be more cold weather advisories issued in the coming days. I can guarantee you that. Here's the winter storm warning, which really hasn't changed. It starts really midnight tonight and goes through midnight Sunday into, let's just say, early Monday morning till about 7 a.m. So this just means it's coming. It's almost here. And as you can see, they talk about the impacts, including power outages, impassable roads. Some roads you will not be able to drive on. Some of the main roads could be okay, but there are going to be, especially back roads and even some highways, will be impassable. Impacts to other utilities like your water, heat. Yeah, I mean, if your power goes off, I hope you have some type of alternative measure to keep heat in your home. And then down trees, of course, is going to be another problem. And really, it doesn't matter where you are, it's all going to affect us. Okay. Here's a look at the snowfall amounts that have been forecast starting tomorrow morning, as I said, and I'm going to show you the timing. They also have a graphic showing the timing across the state. So this is taking in early tomorrow morning when it starts and going all the way through Monday morning. And you can see, as I mentioned before, that stripe of 6 to 8 inches kind of in an angle from Hopkinsville, as you see down here at the bottom of that graphic, and then it goes up to Bowling Green, and then it continues up to Campbellsville, and then it just travels on to just north of, or almost to Jackson, Kentucky. Below that, where you see the blue, that's where we're going to get the most in the way of freezing rain and sleet. So when you have freezing rain and sleet, that's going to cut down on potential snowfall. You're still going to get 3 or 4 inches, maybe up to 6, depending on where you are. So south of Bowling Green to Russell Springs to London, Harlan, Kentucky, and over to Pikeville, anywhere from 3 or 4, 5 or 6, depending on elevation's going to have a lot to do with it too. Once you get over into some of the hills and the mountains, that's going to be where you get some, of course, the higher up you go, colder air, much colder air, and you're going to get better snowfall. Excuse me. Some of you could see some snowfall rates at 1 inch an hour, and that would happen tomorrow with the enhancement of some of the snow. Yesterday at this podcast, I mentioned banding, and that's where we're going to have these areas of enhanced snowfall rates and higher snowfall ratios that are just going to make this thing explode. So that's possible. Now, the most likely places that's going to happen is that kind of a tan color, orangish yellow, where you see 8 to 12. That's Paducah, Owensboro, Hartford, Beaver Dam, maybe even Morgantown. Morgantown, you could get 8 inches to a foot. Very possible, because you're going to have a less threat of freezing rain and sleet mixing in. Then you go continue east, E-Town, and then over to Danville, Richmond, Lexington, Moorhead, and Ashland, Kentucky. That's where the stripe of 8 inches to a foot of just snow. That's it. Then north of that area in the deep orange is the foot to foot and a half or so. That would include Covington, Cincinnati, Maysville, Frankfort, Louisville, and then into southern Indiana, Jasper, Salem, and Madison. So there's your snowfall. That's just snowfall. Okay? Litchfield, Grayson County, 8 to 12. E-Town, 8 to 12. Hardin County. Hardin, Grayson, over to, let's say, Ohio County, Hartford, Beaver Dam, Davis County, 8 to 12. All of you, 8 to 12. But then as you get closer to Bowling Green, it's going to be 6 to 8. That's the way it goes right now. And I know some of you are saying, and I see it right there, I don't think we're going to get crap. The storm has changed so much every day, it's been hard to predict. Amanda, yeah, you know, I can understand why you're saying that, because with the social media and even the TV networks like the Weather Channel or Fox Weather or whatever, you know, they've been showing these really bloated snowfall totals that are coming in. And we've been talking about this for a whole week. So we've heard 1,000 different versions of what's going to happen. You know what? You know who, you know when this is going to be right. You know when it's going to be right, and we get what is supposed to be. It's when it happens. And I know some of you are thinking, well, with all this technology and the computer models, and why can't you get it exactly right? You know what? It doesn't matter It will not matter, even years to come. It won't matter how great our technology is. We will never, ever, ever get it exactly right because weather is not an exact science. It varies and it flexes and it wobbles and it just, it has a behavior of its own. And I don't think we will ever be able to tap into its own intelligence. Or some say the weather has a lack of intelligence. But we will never be able to get it exactly right. What you're hearing and seeing is everybody's take on the information that they're getting, and everybody has a different take. But the bottom line is this is what I want you to know. I want you to be prepared for whatever happens. And I say that even when we're talking about severe weather, tornadoes, severe thunderstorms, flooding, when it's warm. I say, be prepared no matter what happens. Be prepared for whatever the outcome. That's the way you should think about this. You can make fun of, well, they said 12 inches. And then somebody else said 6 to 8. And then somebody else said something. You can laugh at that and point at that and talk about it like I don't know what to think because they're all saying something different. Bottom line is, are you prepared? Get prepared for 2 inches and get prepared for 12 inches. That's how you should approach it. Be prepared for all snow and also be prepared for ice because things change. But you should not change. You should have a plan and you should go with it, planning on, well, maybe the power will go out and I need backup generator, or I need, I'm going to be locked in here for several days. I need food. I need to gas up the car. You know, I need to take care of all these different things. That's the way you need to think. Okay. So as I mentioned here, the snow to liquid ratios are going to be extraordinary. It's going to start tomorrow as a dry, fluffy snow, powdery. Okay. Blow it out. It'll blow away. With the winds, it's just going to blow very easily. But as that much warmer air starts to move in, as I mentioned, I drew it out for you, it's going to turn to a wet, heavy snow as we get into Sunday. And it's because of that warm air and all the moisture that's associated with that low pressure system. Then that's where the snow gets heavy and you don't have to have ice on the power lines for the power to go off. You can have heavy, wet snow, and if you get enough of it, it can knock out your power. That's what we're concerned about. And of course, the ice. And as I mentioned, that red zone area that you see there, stretching from about Hopkinsville over to Todd County, Elkton, Russellville, Bowling Green, Brownsville, Glasgow, Scottsville, Tompkinsville, Edmonton, Munfordville, Greenville, Campbellsville, Columbia, Burkesville, and beyond, Russell Springs, London, Jackson, Kentucky. That red zone is where we're most likely to get some higher ice totals. And there's even going to be some north of us, but it's not going to be as much. The red zone is the concern because if we have a long period, and I'm talking about several hours of nothing but freezing rain, that's where we could get the ice, what we call ice accretion or ice buildup on the trees, on the power lines, on the roads, everything. Now, if we get as it shows there, a quarter inch to a half inch of ice, I think in most cases when that happens, we're okay. As far as you may have some sporadic power outages, but widespread usually not with that measurement of ice. But it's when you get to between a half inch of ice to three quarters of an inch, or even an inch of ice, which they're expecting down in Middle Tennessee. That's an ice storm, and that's where you have numerous power outages. Right now, some of that's happening in Texas. I was checking that just before I came on, and they're already getting power outages in Texas because of freezing rain, sleet, and some snow. Now, that red zone area could change. So, as we continue to update this through the weekend, which I will do, which Scott Burchett will do, and Micah Henson will do, and we'll keep this also updated on our website, WNKY.com, and on the weather app, the News 40 weather app. We're going to keep those things and social media constantly updated all weekend. So if something changes, we're going to come on and tell you. I could do one of these podcasts that I do about 7 o'clock every night, 7 days a week. But during this weekend, I may pop on in the morning or Sunday, midday, or whatever. I'm gonna cover this from top to bottom. And when I come on, it means something has changed or something has gotten much worse and something we need to pay attention to. So that's all I'm doing is getting your attention because I need to tell you something. So, all right, ice forecast, the probability or percentage that we're going to get a quarter inch of ice or higher, the higher percentages are south and east of Bowling Green. The more likely places that are going to get enough ice to cause problems is going to be over the Cumberland Plateau. And we're talking about Somerset, Monticello, London, Kentucky, Harlan, Kentucky, Pikeville, and then south into Tennessee. That's where it'll be much more than just a glaze of ice. It's going to be much more. Now, I see a lot of you asking, what time is it going to be at my house? Is it going to be in my city? Is it going to be in my town? Is it going to be in my county? The answer to all of that is an astounding, resounding yes. And I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying it's just a lot. It's just a lot. There's a lot to unpack here. So, the timing, I will tell you right off the bat, the timing that you're seeing right there is an estimate. It's an estimate because even between now and tomorrow morning, some of this timing may change. So, but based on what we're seeing already back in Oklahoma and Texas as it's getting started, based on the flow, the upper flow, the jet stream, and how it's steering this thing, based on that, it looks like it's going to start as snow in western Kentucky tomorrow morning between, and those times are Eastern. So let's back it up an hour. Let's go to slow time instead of fast time. And I know that because I used to live in Columbia. And then when I would go to Campbellsville, it was Eastern or fast time, as they refer to it there. And in Columbia, Dare County, it's slow time, fast time, Eastern and Central. So back it up. So we're talking about 5 to 8 a.m. Tomorrow morning, it's going to start. Paducah will start getting light snow. Then it will cross into our area, much of the 270, we'll start to get snow tomorrow morning from 8 until, let's say, 11 a.m. to noon. Okay? Now, central Kentucky, as we work our way up to E-Town, Louisville, Danville, London, Somerset, we're talking about 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, this is tomorrow. Then the snow will spread across the entire state of Kentucky and be in the eastern part, the northern and eastern parts of Kentucky from 2 until 5 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. All right. So there's your timing, and you can see at the bottom of that Kentucky map, the confidence in timing as this thing goes across Kentucky is in the high category. That means the National Weather Service forecasters coordinating with all the other Weather Service forecasters to the west as this thing comes in, they've all been talking about how fast this thing is going to move. So they're very confident, high confidence on this timing. All right? That's what that means. So in the morning, some of you will be getting up and you'll start to see snowflakes. And all day tomorrow, it's going to be snow. No ice, no mix. It's all going to be ice. I mean, snow. Sorry. Whoo. Like I said, there's a lot to unpack. Snow. It's all going to be snow tomorrow. Okay, let's move on. This is when it's going to end, which will be for some late Sunday night, and others, it'll be early Monday morning. There's your timing. 8 p.m. Sunday night to almost midnight, Western Kentucky, the system will start to leave. Here in the 270 and the Bowling Green area up to the Ohio River, in that stripe, that second striped area, it's going to be around 11 a.m. or noon on Sunday till, early Sunday. So midnight to about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, it will start to push away. Then in the central Kentucky, it's going to be there, Eastern time, 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. And then you see far eastern Kentucky, the storm will leave after 6 a.m. Eastern. Got it? Good. And they have a medium to almost high confidence in that timing as well. So there's your timing, and that's the way it looks. For those of you that miss that part or you miss it and you get on here and you're like, well, what time is it going to start or what? You can back this up. Remember, I'm on all the platforms. You can back this up and it replays, it records it, it replays. You can watch this if you feel like you missed something, okay? Now, this is the other part of the storm that nobody wants to talk about really, but I'm telling you, when this extremely cold air comes in, and this is not, it's not even here yet, really. We're getting a small taste of it right now. But when this cold settles in with snowpack on the ground, remember, it's going to be a winter sandwich. Snow on the bottom, a layer of ice, in some cases in the middle, and then another layer of snow on top. So when that stays on the ground with these kind of cold temperatures, it makes the temperature go colder. That's where it gets dangerous. So here's a look at not the high temperatures, but the low temperatures over the next few nights. Look at this. 9 Saturday night. Oh, let's see. Okay, Bowling Green. That was Bardstown. Bowling Green. 13 is going to be the low for tonight, early tomorrow. Then 17 Sunday night. Then three is going to be the low Monday night, -2, the low for Monday or Tuesday. Then we go back to 13, but then we go even next Thursday and Friday, we go back to single digits and near zero or at zero low temperatures. We are not, and this is key. Listen to me. This is serious. You got to know this. We are not going to get above freezing at all anytime in the next week, in the next 7 days. It will, even if the sun comes out, it is not going to get warm enough to melt everything that's going to come down. This is going to stay here for a week. For some of you, if you get some of those higher snow totals, like a foot and a half, it's going to stay here for 2 weeks because the temperatures are not going to warm up. I'm just telling you, that's how it's going to be. And you are going to have to make adjustments about how you're going to go to work, or even if you're going to go to work. I would say school systems are going to be out not only all next week, but maybe into the following week. Yeah, I'm making a prediction just based on the weather. They're going to be out. You need to make sure you've got plenty of food for the kids and plenty of things to do. And then if your power goes off, what are you going to do about that? See, that's why I've spent most of this week talking about preparation and not talking about snow totals, because snow totals are all over the place. But with this kind of a storm and how big it is and the potential impact it could have, the thing I do know is that it's going to interrupt everything, and I mean everything about your life and your daily routine. It is not going to be the same. That is what you need to know. Now look at those wind chills on the right column, on the right side of this graphic. So if we get single digit lows and we get a little bit of a wind, we're talking wind chills on Monday night, 7 below zero. If you're out, you're likely, if you're out for a while in that kind of wind chill, you're likely to get hypothermia. If you have any exposed fingers, ears, nose, face, whatever, you're asking for trouble. Let me just say that. Now look at that. Tuesday night is going to be the coldest. 12 below zero wind chills. Tuesday night. That's, whoo. It does warm up a little bit after that, but not much. And you see the scale, as it says, confidence in cold temperatures is high. So here's this graphic, and we saw this last night, and you may have seen this on Weather Service postings on social media. At this point, preparation is over. The window to be prepared for this storm is now over. Now we wait. And as Tom Petty, the great philosopher Tom Petty, said, the waiting is the hardest part. I've been waiting all week to say that. No, really. Because I love that song. I love Tom Petty. But it does kind of put it all into perspective. We just sit here and we wait for it to happen. Because at this point, if you don't have preparation and all the stuff we've told you, what to do, how to go to the store and, get backup generators or get some way of staying warm if your power goes off and fill up gas in your car and all that kind of stuff, get some salt, get a shovel. If you haven't done any of that, now that's on you. That's not on me. That's on you. And I'm just being real with you. I know it sounds like I'm getting on to you, but I've done this long enough to know that at some point I've got to hand it off. I've got to hand this whole thing off to you. And now it sits in your lap. What are you going to do with it? Now is that point to where I'm handing it off to you. We've done all we can do to tell you what's going to happen, what's going to come, when it's going to come, maybe how much you're going to get. Are you prepared? So I'm handing it now, all that information over to you. What you do with it is on you, not me, or the Weather Service, or all the crazy numbers that have been thrown out there from the Weather Channel and all the other armchair forecasters, hypecasters. It doesn't matter now. All those numbers don't matter now. What matters now is we're waiting for all of it to unfold. And now your life, your daily routine is about to be very interrupted. And if you're not properly prepared for this, it's not going to be good. That's the bottom line. Okay. Hopefully you've done this. You've got a cell phone charger. You've got something to charge your devices, like a backup battery of some type. You've got water. You've got at least 3 days of food. And then in some cases, you're going to need more than that. But at this point, I don't think, I mean, it's 8 o'clock now, Central Time. You know, the stores are still open. You've got maybe a couple of hours before they close to get last minute things that you need. Shovel, batteries, flashlight, some kind of boots or something you can get out and wear in the snow, salt, your documents, your medicine. You need it if you're going somewhere else to stay for heat and shelter. You're going to need to take your meds with you. And if you're like me, you've got a whole drugstore, a whole drugstore of medicine that you would have to take with you. And then, of course, you see on the right-hand side, your pets. Are they taken care of? Hopefully so. All right. Let's go back to this. This is what I normally show, but it's just been so much about preparation that I haven't gone through the normal steps. See, even my routine is getting interrupted. But here we go with the setup. And the setup is happening right now. You see how cold it is? These are the current temperatures in Kentucky. This is that huge high pressure sitting on top of us and bringing in that very cold Arctic air that's laying the foundation for the winter sandwich. Snow, ice, snow. Look, it's 20 degrees in Bowling Green, but you're starting to see like Morgantown's at 17, Hartford is at 13. Yeah, these are not even the low temperatures yet. Look, there's 10s up here on the Ohio River right now, right this minute, right now at 8:06 p.m. This is the current cold air, plus we have the winds. The winds are going to be like this all weekend, pretty much. They may go northeast for a while when the low pressure system comes in because it's going to throw the winds around it from the northeast. But right now they are north winds and they're 5, 10, 15 miles per hour, but that's not even the breezes or the gusts. These are 15, 20. And I'm sure some 25s are going to start to show up. So what does that produce as far as a wind chill? This is what it feels like right this very moment. It feels like it's 8 degrees in Bowling Green. It feels like it's -1 in Hartford, -4 in Madisonville right now. It's already happening. And think about this, as I just showed you, temperatures are going to be much colder than it is right now. And the fact that we're not going to get above freezing for a whole week, that's not good. Here are the maps. I'll quickly go through this because I know I'm going over. I'm sorry, but it's got to be discussed. Here it comes. You can see the big storm out west. Nothing here until this is midnight. We start to see the troughing. We start to see the jet become more active. Look at the winds tightening up. Those are your breezes that are coming in as the low pressure system begins to move across. And now we go to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And as I showed you earlier, when all of you have been asking, what time is it going to start? Again, we're looking at far western Kentucky around 5 in the morning. And here's 6 a.m. It says it's going to be starting in Bowling Green. Now, we know weather doesn't follow this. It doesn't go by straight lines. It ignores counties, states. It doesn't matter. Weather is weather, and it's going to do what it's going to do, and it's going to behave the way it wants to behave. It has its own intelligence. So that's why I want to tell you that these are estimates on when it's going to start. But it does look like when we put everything together, all these little pieces of the puzzle, it's going to be around far western Kentucky, 4, 5 a.m., and maybe closer to 6 here in Bowling Green, and then later, as I showed you, throughout the day tomorrow to the east. So this is 6 a.m., all snow. 12, midday, noon, heavier snow, and some of the snow is going to come down very heavily. At first, it's just going to be these little flakes, and you're like, see, I told you, it's not going to do anything. Those weather people are stupid. I told you it's going to be a bust. Nothing's going to happen. Chris Allen is a liar. That's what some of you are going to say. And then all of a sudden, whew, it kicks into high gear and it hits the gas pedal. By midday or somewhere around there tomorrow, that's when the snow becomes more prevalent. And our snow totals go up, the snow ratios, I should say, go up, not just 10 to 1, but maybe 15 to 1, 18 to 1, or possibly even 20 to 1. That's for every inch. If you melted it down, the water content would be pretty much double what it should be in a normal snow situation, which means you could end up with snowfall rates of 1 inch an hour. Somebody's going to get that. But look how close the freezing rain and sleet is. Nashville will start with a period of snow, and then they're going to go over to a mix. We stay snow. Here is 6 p.m. tomorrow night, and this is when we start to see that little nudge of warmer air into southern Kentucky. And somewhere between us and Nashville, it's going to start changing over or mixing. It's not maybe going to be all freezing rain, but it's going to be close. And then sleet is also a possibility. Now look at this. This is 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. Ugh. This is the part I don't like. We could be looking at several hours of nothing but you think you'll go outside and go, "Oh, it's just raining. It's just rain." But remember, I just showed you the temperatures. Everything's going to be below zero, which means when the rain comes down because it's warm above us, the surfaces are below freezing. And so when the raindrops come down, it's going to freeze. It's going to freeze on everything. And that's my probably biggest concern is how long is this going to last where it's just freezing rain? Sleet, I'm not worried about. Freezing rain. That's not going to be good. And look, well, let me come back to that. Look at this. As the low approaches, we get even rain, just rain from Murfreesboro to Cookeville, Tennessee to Knoxville. And that's because it's going to be warmer for a time. Now we go to 6 p.m. Sunday. There's the system. There's the low. It starts to move northeast. And on the back side of that low, now we get the northeast wind. Now we get the throwback of the cold air. And look, we go back to snow. We're going to get 2 hits of snow. One tomorrow, and then the next one Sunday night into Monday morning as the system begins to pull away. And look at those lines, tight, which means it's going to be breezy. And that's when those negative wind chills take hold. And now, with a big snowpack on the ground, or even some ice in some cases, this is Monday morning, 6 a.m., when some of you will just absolutely, I know, you've got to go to work. I've got to go to work. I plan on being at News 40 at 6 a.m., actually at 4 a.m., on Monday morning. We're still going to roll. Now, I personally don't have a problem with driving in the snow or even the ice. I don't like it. But I've done it so many times and I'm like, I know how to handle myself. It's everybody else that I'm worried about and how they drive. But some of you are going to have to go to work. And this is the way it's going to be Monday morning. Still a few flurries flying around. And it's just going to be absolutely brutally cold. We're not going to make it out of the teens Monday. And then Monday night, how about 5 below zero for a temperature, not a wind chill? So here's Tuesday morning. Oh, the sun is out and it's going to shine. And everybody's like, this is nice. It's only going to get up to 24 on Tuesday. With snow on the ground, even with the sun out, we may get a little what we call radiational melting, and that's just from the radiation of the sun, but it's not going to do much, especially if you've got a foot of snow and then ice underneath it. In some cases, it's not going anywhere. And then even though the sun is shining, Wednesday looks good, but there's another little system that comes in Wednesday, but it's not going to have much moisture with it. There may be some light snow east of us, West Virginia. There's Thursday. Now look, there's another little disturbance that may try to throw out a small chance of flurries on Thursday. And then into Friday, look at that big high pressure is back with sunshine and temperatures in the 20s, lows around zero. Again, what fell at your house is going to still be there. We're not going to get above freezing for a week, at least. All right? So now let's check this. And really, right now, I don't care how long I go with this podcast. This is probably going to be the longest podcast I've ever done. There's just too much information. So here we are with the European model right now. Here is the bulk of the cold air. Here is the low pressure system. And here is the surface low. These are upper lows. Okay. This is the big kahuna. And it's just now moving in to the Baja of California. It's going to cut across Texas and a little south of us. And then, as you saw, it's going to take a path like this and become possibly a nor'easter or something close to that for New England. I mean, up in New York City and all those places, when it gets up there in a few days, they're going to have a big, big snow. So this is massive. But here we go with the cold air, and here comes trouble. Now I know the Weather Channel calls it Winter Storm Fern. Fern? What? You know, like a plant? I don't have one, but you know, like fern? Who comes up with these? Anyway, so here comes Fern. All right. Look at all this, how this just rolls in and just explodes. It's at first, and there's the low, there's the surface low right there. So as it cuts across, it taps into the moisture. Some of this is Pacific moisture, and not even getting Gulf moisture yet. There will be some what we call transference, where we do in the upper waves here that come through get some moisture from the Gulf, but a lot of this is going to be Pacific at first. But look, all right, this timing shows the arrival of the snow, 12 UTC, or 12Z, we say, universal time, 1200. That would be 7 a.m. tomorrow morning when we see some of the first flakes moving into western Kentucky. So this is what I mean. Now we have the finer details, and now we can say with pretty good confidence that the snow will begin somewhere in a window of 4 a.m. in far western Kentucky till about 6 or 7 here in Bowling Green, southern Kentucky. Just kind of somewhere in there. Now let's keep going. Here's just, tomorrow's just all snow. All snow. And this is, see this darker blue? This is when we have enhancement of the snowfall. Snowfall rates could really be big during the day tomorrow. This is Z time 2100, which is going to be 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. By that time, the snow is really going to come down. And some of you are going to think, wow, this is really it. Here we go into 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. And this, just like I showed you a moment ago, this is when the little bit of warm air intrusion starts to happen. And now the Gulf is open for business as the low pressure system draws it in. That's when we might begin to see a mix to a changeover. And now it goes into southern Kentucky. This is early Sunday morning. You may hear little things hitting your window. That would be sleet. But if you go outside and it's just raining, be careful, because it's probably freezing rain. And that is not what you want. But it's, the potential is there, very much so. This is on into Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon. Look how far north that goes. Let's hope it doesn't. And now we get into Sunday afternoon, and this thing is cooking. But there it comes. And even rain, look at that, far eastern Kentucky. And now the low is going to start throwing that moisture back into the really cold air. And look at this huge area of just snow. Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. We're still kind of in the mix to freezing rain and sleet area for a little bit, but then the cold air comes back in and the moisture changes back to snow as we head in. This is Sunday night into Monday morning, and now the system is going away. And now New York City, New England, all that get the worst of it. This big high pressure just builds and sinks all of that cold air down into our area, and this is when it's going to get brutally cold. Plus, we'll have a snowpack on the ground, which will make it colder. Here we go into Monday, brutal. Sunshine, yes, but brutal. The high pressure strengthens, 1,051 millibar. That makes it not record-breaking strong, but it's one of the strongest high pressures that we've had in a long time. Here we go into Monday night, into Tuesday, still brutal, still snow on the ground, still cold, temperatures in the single digits at night, only in the teens during the day. Here's Wednesday. Here comes Thursday, and we do see this in the upper flow, a little bit of moisture as we get some maybe flurries. I don't think that's going to be too much of a big deal, and not everybody's going to see that Thursday. Now here we go into Friday, into next Saturday, and then look, it stays cold. Just look at those highs and how strong they are. While the west starts to warm up, we're still in the ice box. This is next Monday and into next Tuesday. Now, I will show you this. There is a new storm that is going to develop further south in the middle and end of next week. Some of this, as high pressure moves away, may push north and cause another system to happen in the southeast, even Florida, which could present more snow and more, as you see there, mixy stuff. But that's next week. We'll talk about that later. Let's get through this one first. Okay, if you're still with me, let me see who's still with me here. Oh, there's still a good amount of people still with me. Thank you. All right. Last thing I'm going to show you, the blend of models, model blender temperatures. Next 10 days, this will take us into the first few days of February. 20s the next couple of days, highs, lows in the teens, including tonight. But now you start to see single-digit lows Monday night. Tuesday night's going to be the coldest, 5 below zero. And in some cases, it may even be colder than that, with the snow packed on the ground. Then we go 20s all next week. Almost every single day is going to be 20s. This is when we have a chance of getting above freezing. Next Sunday or Monday. Next, not the Sunday, Monday that's coming day after tomorrow. I'm talking about next weekend is when we get above freezing in the daytime, But look, we stay in the single digits, near zero, and in the teens, low teens, even as we start to warm up a little. It's what's on the ground is going to be here for a long time, and I know we'll get some of the, the front loaders and the scoops and all that stuff, and you're going to see big piles of snow that's going to be there for weeks and weeks and weeks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So at this point, I know that many of you have already, it's too late now to call R&R and get set up with a generator. By the way, they've sent their families home, everybody's home and safe, and the R&R is taking care of their people, which a lot of places are doing the same thing. Like it's the weekend, this thing is coming in, go home, be safe, be with your family. But after this is over, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to call R&R Controls and get set up with a generator at their house or their business. Generac makes them small, like the one there you see right there, with the guy standing there holding his thumb up, and it's attached to his home. So within seconds of the power going off, that kicks in and he keeps going. His whole family gets to have heat. They have everything they need. Wouldn't that be nice if you had that? And look, I know you think it's unaffordable, but it's not. There are ways to work out financing to get one. 270-777-2024. That's the number for R&R Controls. But again, they won't be around tomorrow. It's too late to get a generator right now from them. But I would say next week when they're back in the office and they can get to the office, then you can call them and say, boy, after this, I want to talk to you about getting a generator. And they will. They will. And you can work it out. Okay? R&R Controls, with them, you'll never be without. All right. So, how long have I gone? An hour and 22 minutes. Record, ladies and gentlemen. Record length of any podcast I've ever done, but all of this had to be said. And I can't say everything I just said on television. Television, I get 3 minutes, and some people, that's why they ask questions. Well, he didn't really tell me what I needed to hear. Hopefully, in this past hour and 23 minutes, I have said everything that needs to be said, except God bless you. My prayers are with you, if that means anything. Thoughts, yes, I still believe in thoughts and prayers. I think that matters a lot. And while this is not a tornado, it's not a hurricane, it's not a flood, this is entirely different, but it's still severe weather. Because as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be a major interruption in your life for days. So I'm with you, and I will keep you up to date. And also Scott Burchett, Micah Henson, our weather team, they will keep you updated all weekend. Like I said at the very beginning of this, if you didn't hear me, I am going to be ready to go on live like I'm doing right now at some other time. It may be tomorrow, midday, mid-morning, mid-afternoon, Sunday at some point. I may just pop on live to give you information that I feel is important enough and pertinent enough to tell you something has changed or it's something you need to know. Okay, so just as you're watching social media during the weekend, I'm going to pop on at some point. So, all right. Right now, I'm tired. My voice is going out. My lips are chapped too, and I hate that. Good Lord, I hate that. It makes it hard to talk. But anyway, this is all, we're all going to be okay if you've prepared. It's now practically here. There's not much more anybody can do. Now we just sit and wait. But God bless you all. Thank you for watching this whole time. I love you. I appreciate you. And I will talk to you. I guarantee I will talk to you sometime tomorrow. Take care.